Did you know that there were two types of 4K? There's what I'm going to call traditional, which is the 2160 against the 3840, but there's also a higher echelon. Wipeout the Omega Collection is the traditional 4K, and I've put this video together because it came out in 2017 and it ran at 60 frames per second, and that mentioned 4K spec. So a hell of a thing to come out that early on, particularly in the PlayStation Pro's life cycle. It was sort of a system seller. In the channel's 7-year history, this is the only real time I've spoken about this game not being an amazing split-screen racer or an excellent PSVR 1 port, and that patch and update was at no charge, free. It also sits on one of my most popular videos 6 years ago. Very different time on this platform. I'm so lucky, and Wipeout the Omega Collection and Borderlands 2 the Handsome Collection were cornerstones to why I put content together. Look how cool gaming content is now on the platform. Look at the awesome aspect ratio and the thumbs. Loads of effort's gone in here. Where are the teeth? Give me some teeth. Come on, come on. You can do it. There's a thing about black holes in gaming trending. Don't worry about that. Thing about Gollum. Awesome. Worst game. All nearly teeth. Come on, do me a solid. Roblox. What's this? GTA 5. Open mouth. Get in. What a shit show. And you've got like Jonah's awful prophecies coming true everywhere. Massive YouTubers just harping on about crap games that came out this year. There's no celebration anymore. What an apocalyptic, dystopian digital landscape.
You not seen Jonah's Awful?
No, but it's on my list.
Happy New Year, everyone, by the way. So let's break down why Wipeout the Omega Collection is still going in my machine up to 6 years after its release and getting played offline and single player. It's got an extremely in-depth campaign. I own a PlayStation Vita and I have that 2048 standalone Vita game. That whole game exists within this Omega Collection. This comes with all three of the titles that were released in and around that period. I wanted to triple check that split screen on the 5 in case we saw some hidden boost when there's two players on. It's kind of identical. That one was a long shot. The campaign for Wipeout Omega Collection is massive, and it has these three sort of pillars, and you can delve into each one at your own pace and open up different courses, more importantly vehicles and flying spacecraft as you progress further through these levels. This also goes for the game's speed. You get classes and a system with how fast you'll be going against the enemy and how good the AI is, and that's something that I definitely need to focus on. Is even in split screen, this game has incredible enemy AI, giving you a really hard time, forcing you to use loads of items. It feels like a Mario Kart game on steroids, quite literally. Both the speed, the graphics, explosions, and how evil some of these other players are. The game also sports what feels like archaic racing controls, with the accelerator button being X on the face of the pad, and that's kind of always on, but this frees up the triggers, more importantly, to be air brakes that are left and right depending on how much swing you want on a corner, and that's something else I want to get to. That's this lack of traction, realistic sort of road contact mechanics, because you're essentially a floating craft. This allows bounce and elastic physics when you're hurtling around the track, and that frees up so much more movement. It's a very sensational feeling game, and in that PSVR 1, it was the best racer that system had to offer. On this particular section, of course, and it's not too predominant when the screen is split, but you can see reflections in the road, and this also never staggers when things get very busy on screen. It's extremely locked, 60 frames per second. I just want to make the point that games today, brand new AAA games today on the PlayStation 5, which is coming up to its 4th year, I think next year, they don't put games out at this spec. They can't even manage it. And it's a bit of an embarrassment, to tell you the truth, and that's another reason I want to push this video out, is to show developers that we're not all suffering from amnesia, and we do all remember when video games worked on day one and looked incredible. I don't know if you've noticed, but that's happened with the music industry. Producers have gone long enough to have another generation that doesn't remember how or what good music sounds like, so they can just recycle everything. The radio today is just songs that were popular 5 years ago remixed. It's past creative drought and into some new sort of weird parallel universe, and I want nothing to do with it. Because of my age, my conscious memory spans the entire video game industry, right from the first ever console produced up till the PlayStation 5 today, which is sitting right next to me. And they're pulling some really dodgy stuff lately with remasters and remakes with specs that aren't special. And this game on the PlayStation 4 Pro in 2017 was damn special. Whilst I was harping on about being a video gaming elder, I was ignoring what I'm showing you in the background here. And it's a cyberpunk city, okay? Now this was something I didn't pluck out for my cyberpunk videos. I make a big fuss about a good cyberpunk universe. I think it's one of the coolest areas of gaming to go in, and I really still think there's a lot more to be done in that direction. But back when the first Wipeout came out, right back on that PlayStation original, it was a very new idea to have this Western Asian text all mixed in, have these beautiful skyscrapers, and even race around with these neon colors. It was the first true cyberpunk racer. That's an important point also. Sticking on the music theme, and this game is one prickly mother to capture on because I got shafted with the copyright last time because it features some really great dance, electro, awesome, even late 90s, early 2000s soundtracks on all of the games that ever came out. It was the first true time I remember hearing Firestarter by The Prodigy whilst playing a video game and thinking, this marry-up is a stroke of genius. I've never really looked back since. Swinging back to that gameplay, and I wanted to point out some of its meta moves and aspects to the energy and how you can use weapons or absorb them to get your health back. But there's a genius little button tab. And by the way, I play this game on the directional, not the analog stick. It's such a tappy experience as opposed to whacking those sticks forward and back. You'll end up breaking your pad. But to the point of the double tap, it allows you to quite literally change lanes, move that flying vehicle to the left and right very quickly. This allows a dodge from a bullet or to pick up some awesome power up right when it's next to you. So really incredible stuff when things get tense. When flying over large bumps, you can also instigate a corkscrew like somersault roll, which gives you an instant boost, but again you will damage your vehicle slightly on landing, so you're weighing up quite a lot of options depending on where your health is at. This is the photo. It's full, beautiful 360. Get rid of the HUD, the lights coming through here. Some of these shadows do not look 2017. There have been some developments in arcade racers with content like the single player campaign that's in Omega Collection, and unfortunately to my knowledge the only place to get the split screen up and going is in that race box mode where you construct individual races, or you can put together a tournament, but more importantly have access to all of those maps. There's none of that opening up progression feeling that you would get in a campaign. Games like Dirt 5 and that 2K Lego Drive do feature this aspect, and I'm going to put links to them because they're kind of carrying the torch still with decent arcade racer content. Dirt 5 features 4-player, which this doesn't, but you've also got games like Sonic Team Racer, which is far more accessible, features a campaign and full-blown 4-player split. I did want to talk about Attack of the Clones and all of the doppelganger Wipeout mimics there are out there. There's tons of them. I remember playing an almost identical one on the Switch, and some of them are split screen. None of them come anywhere close what this game gave us in 2017, and I'm talking about brand new arcade racer spaceship games almost. This is just so much better because of its tried and tested weapon system, I think, and the intricate ship design and differential. It's iconic how much is available to open up here, and that doesn't even cover the tracks and how awesome the shortcuts and tiny little different areas you can nip into to get huge difference in your race and lap times. Loads of Need for Speed games borrowed from that, I think, and you still see it today in a lot of open world arcade races. I'm chuckling because Need for Speed Unbound almost feels like a Wipeout game with its crazy like graffiti graphics and constant shortcut options. The single player also throws quite a lot of these endurance style race setups with you. Now this is not lap times, no competitors on track. You're literally hurtling through one course that gets faster and faster, and the damage is the thing that takes you out. It's almost like a roguelike. You've just got to keep going until you score enough to get the pass. It's very tense. They always mix a good tune in, and the way the neons work and the changes in colour, the voiceover, headphones on and a little bit hammered, this game will take you somewhere else.
Soft flash.
Briefly, I did want to mention that the online does actually work really well, and I've played this with mates where we're all racing against each other and randoms. You get the full screen, obviously. There's a ranking system in there. They'll be pulling the plug on that pretty soon if they haven't done already. That sort of tips into the ship differential and class system as well. There's a big incentive to play the campaign and open up cool new craft to take out online and beat your mates with. But it's that solid single player campaign content that I want to hit home is still worth looking at, still worth firing up today on your PlayStation 5 and seeing true traditional 4K running at 60 frames per second. We don't get that with stuff like Red Dead Redemption 2 or even brand new Ark Survival Ascended, which is running on Unreal 5, and I'm talking in single player. I might put a video out about that game's performance. It is a shocker in areas. Just lastly, back to that race box option, the area you need to go in for split screen. You can construct a single player sort of game at any difficulty on any of the tracks that you've got open with any of the craft that you've got going. Holy crap, this on top speed is the promised land for an arcade racer. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been Couch Cube. Go and watch Jonah's Awful. I will see you down there.
The unsubscribed must be punished. YouTube must face its destiny. Couch Cube must reign supreme. I've gone Yoda.